Welcome to the April 15th edition of the Index Sports Show. I'm Jack Nicholl, sports editor. With me I have Brent Foster, assistant sports editor, and a special guest this week, Tyler Madsen, co-head men's golf coach, and also works for the sports information department. Madsen went with the golf team last weekend to the Missouri Southern Invite. The team finished 7 out of 12 teams. Chris Kovac with a 9th place finish. Tyler, what did you see this weekend? How did the team do overall?
You know, we played really well, Jack. We were right there with every team in contention. After day one, we were in 8th. We were 11 shots behind the leader, but we were only 4 shots behind 4th place. And so we knew, kind of coming off the Masters, moving day at the Masters, we knew that day 2 was going to be a big moving day for us. We got the opportunity to play with Washburn and Lincoln, current MIAA member. Usually, Washburn's been a perennial power in the MIAA. Got to play with them. It was a great experience to play, with somebody that, you're always chasing. And our guys really stepped up on day 2. We shot a lower score than Washburn, ended up passing them in the standings. It was really the first time in, we think, 3 or 4 years that we beat Washburn in an individual tournament. So really proud of my guys the way they played on the second day.
So you guys see Washburn about 3 times a year?
We actually saw them all 5 tournaments this past fall, and then we saw them twice. We'll see them twice this spring, this past weekend and then next weekend.
Okay.
Tyler, individually, who shined and really stuck out for you?
This past weekend, obviously, day one. Day one, we got it going. We put ourselves in contention, and that's all we really ask on day one. That's all you need to do. Just don't shoot yourself in the foot. Vincent Kurth shot a 75 day one for us. He was our team leader that day. Really grinded it out, had 3 birdies for us. Chipped in one on one of the really tough par 3s for the tournament. Chipped in for birdie to just get himself really going for the day. He helped us out a lot because some of our guys that were used to lower scores shot a little bit higher on day 1, but then day 2 we got a little bit more back to normal. Chris came out with 74, shot really well. Nick Bensinger shot 76, and Harrington shot 78, which is really around where we need those guys to be, and that really helped us out a lot. So really, we've got a really solid top 4 right now, and they're all really playing well, which for us mid-April is the right time to do that. So,
Tyler, you mentioned the top 4 with Chris Kovac, Andy Harrington, Nick Bensinger, and Vincent Kurth. But number 5 has really been shuffled around, not only in the fall, but now in the spring. Is anybody going to be taking over that role, or is it going to continue to mix and match?
We hope we can get somebody in that 5th spot. We take 5 guys to every tournament, and we take the top 4 scores each day. So, obviously, if your top 4 are playing consistently, in theory, the 5th guy doesn't matter, but it's nice to have that 5th guy be able to shoot 77, 78. That way, you've got a buffer in case somebody just has a really bad day. So, we've shuffled 3 or 4 guys this season in that number 5 spot, and we're looking at 3 different guys for this next weekend. So for this year, we're running out of time to find the consistency there, but we're hoping for next year with some of the people we're planning on bringing in. In addition to the returning staff that we essentially have, we have no seniors. So next year especially should showcase a lot more depth, which is good. You don't just see that at the tournaments, you see it in qualifying. Just because it's great for, everybody to be pushed during our qualifying, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, leading up to leaving on Sunday. And, guys are feeling confident that they can just sort of coast through qualifying. They don't work to get better. And the more depth we have, obviously, even down to the 9 and 10 spots, if those guys are quality guys that can shoot sub 80 every time, we'll take it, just to keep, that competition there amongst themselves to get the right 5 guys, the right 4 and 5 guys there every tournament.
Has anybody been standing out for you in that 5 slot who could step in a leadership role next season?
We've got a couple freshmen that we've taken this spring in that number 5 spot. Alex Key and Jake Hanrahan have been in that 5 spot so far this spring. Those 2, along with one of our sophomores, Joey White, are going to kind of battle it out this weekend to figure out who's going to go with us to the conference championships next weekend. So we're really young in that spot. Obviously, Chris and Andy are juniors for us. Vincent's a junior, and then Nick Bensinger is just only a sophomore for us. So, we're young, just not having any seniors. We can reshuffle, and really, it's kind of once you get 1 through 5, once they're there, it doesn't really matter. It's just getting into that top 5 spot and having that cutoff line to get the right 5 guys.
Okay.
It's how regionals coming up there, might able to play. Team probably not going to make it. Any individuals that you think might be able to get into regionals?
I'll tell you, we are in a very, very tough region. All of the spring sports at Truman are at a big disadvantage. It used to be a case that in the MIAA, if you were top 6, you would make the NCAA tournament. That was back when we were in the North Central region, competing against a lot of Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, those kind of schools. A couple years ago, we shifted regions. We're now in the South Central, which puts us in with a lot of Texas and Oklahoma schools. Obviously, a few of those Texas schools have the ability to play year-round, and whether or not it's a factor, that is something that you obviously have to take into consideration if you're a committee. That you are going to take a team that is playing year-round, whereas we can get out in mid-March. So it looks like only one team from our conference is probably going to make it as a team, and that's out of 10. It's just a very, very difficult spot for us. I think the women are the same way over on their side. It's going to be tough, I think, for a second team to get in, which then that kind of translates into individually a problem for us, just because we have a lot of great golfers in our conference, and that's the problem, is that we are a very good conference, but we just get overlooked. So if we have one team that gets in, now we've got 7 other teams in our conference, and now you're looking at their number 1 guys, and you're trying to see who should get in one of those 4 individual spots for the national tournament. And then on top of that, you got any other Lone Star Heartland teams that don't get in. If they've got a kid that consistently shoots 68, but he just doesn't have any help, then you got to throw that into the equation. So our best chances, obviously as an individual, will be either Chris Kovach or Nick Bensinger. If I can mold those 2 guys together, they'd be an amazing golfer. And we joke about that just because Chris in the fall played so well in the non-conference events, and Nick played really well in the conference events. And then so far this spring, they both played well. Chris obviously just placed a little bit better than Nick in this first conference event. So I guess if you're looking at it that way, Chris might have a little bit of a leg up, just if you're looking at wins losses in comparison. And he has that stigma across the league as he is our number 1. So I think that I think that helps with the committee, just looking at that and being like, okay, that he's their number 1 guy. So Chris and Nick probably have the best chance, but we'll just have to wait and see. The MIAA tournament will go a long way. If one of them can really step up and do a top 2 or 3 finish, that would really help.